Anyone who has visited Western's campus is familiar with the work of our next inductee. All you have to do is listen for the horn of one of the many trains that pass by Western's campus, and you'll realize the impact that this Western alum has had on one of this country's key transportation systems. He's the former chairman and chief executive officer for the CSX Corporation, one of the country's largest rail transportation systems. He's well known not only for his business accomplishments, but for his public service and educational activities as well. This afternoon's final recipient, Hayes T. Watkins.
America was built on opportunity and passion. It's the opportunity to learn and the passion for the railroads that's given Hayes Watkins his livelihood. Growing up in Newcastle, Kentucky, he developed a love for the iron horse. He brought that love with him to the Bowling Green Business University.
When I got out of grad school, I just decided I'd like to work for a railroad, and I interviewed many railroads there in Chicago and ended up with Chesapeake and Ohio and Railroad in Cleveland, and I've always enjoyed it.
After a stint in the Army, Watkins graduated from BU in 1947 with an accounting degree, but not without the help of three wonderful teachers.
Mr. Meany, J.R. Meany, who was taught law and business at BU and who had been a lawyer in New York and elsewhere and had a vast amount of practical experience, and he kept us charmed talking about his experiences in the past. And then our principal accounting teacher was Hoot Holland, J.C. Holland. I think there is a Meany Holland chair now in the business school, and I had both of them. They were both great teachers. Then there was a lady there by the name of Mrs. Cates, Clyde Bolton Cates, who was about as rough as any teacher that I've ever had.
He received his master's in 1948, and 1 year later, he was working as an analyst for C&O Railroad. In 1950, he was an internal auditor, and in 1953, he was promoted to comptroller. He was treasurer by 1961 and vice president in charge of finance for the newly merged C&O and B&O in 1964. By 1971, he was president and CEO of both companies and filled that position until 1973, when he was named chairman and CEO of Chessie Systems.
In 1980, we put the C&O and the B&O, which was called the Chessie System, together with the Seaboard Coastline, headquartered in Jacksonville, and that formed CSX Corporation. Then we added Texas Gas Transmission, American Commercial Barge Line, headquartered in Owensboro and Louisville, or Jeffersonville. Then we bought Sealand, which is a worldwide shipping container company.
Watkins was president of CSX. Then in 1982, he was elected chairman and chief executive officer of CSX by its board of directors. He says it's been a lot of work, but quite an honor.
To be able to convert a small regional railroad into a worldwide transportation company, because when I joined the C&O in 1949, it had annual revenues of about $200 million and served an area between Chicago and Cincinnati and Hampton Roads. And when I left in 1991, its successor, CSX, was an $8 billion company with shipping and barge lines and railroad and logistics operating around the world.
To move right out of school into success is something not many people do. It obviously takes determination and hard work, but Watkins gives credit to more than that.
I had excellent people working with me, and I had excellent bosses that gave me the opportunity to learn about different parts of the company, and I always had the philosophy that I'd do my job as well as I could and not worry about the next one. And then when opportunities came along, I was able to advance, and one day I was president.
He has served on bank boards. He's been director of Black & Decker, Westinghouse Electric, and the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railroad. But in 1991, he retired.
After 42 years, it's time to get out. So when I retired, over the next couple of years, I gradually left all of the corporate and civic boards until I really have most of my time as my own now. But no, I have not had a bit of problem. I've thoroughly enjoyed my retirement.
Watkins was rector of the board at William and Mary. His church, the Richmond YMCA, have kept him busy. But studying his family tree is something he's found quite interesting.
I've always been interested in my family, but I've never had the time until now. So I'm spending times in libraries and graveyards and other places.
Retirement doesn't have the daily stresses he used to have, but he says those stresses weren't near what they could have been.
One person can do very little by himself or herself. It's really a matter of having a group effort, and I always had excellent associates that really did most of the work, and I was the cheerleader standing behind and sometimes pointing the way and sometimes leading it and sometimes right in there with them. But the secret is being able to work with people.
The opportunities at the BU, at CNO, Chessie Systems, and with CSX put him on the railroad to success, and he never looked back. 1997 Hall of Distinguished Alumni honoree, Hayes Watkins.
It's a great honor to be included with such notables as one reads in the program. I have fond memories of Bowling Green, of BU, of Western. Even though we were separate when I was here, I like to point out that Dr. Cherry founded BU before he came up on the Hill, and so we all have a common ancestry. When I was here during the early part of World War II, before I was old enough to leave, we were always treated, we at BU were always treated as a part of the Western family. And so I saw all of the football games, the basketball games. As a matter of fact, one year I waited tables for Coach Diddle and the Western basketball team. And I've never worked as hard in my life as that. But I have always considered myself a BU Western graduate, and so it's a distinguished honor for me to say to all of my Western associates, I'm proud of Western. I brag about it at every chance, and I look forward to a continuing great future with another great president of Western Kentucky University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins, and thank all of you. And I also want to remind the new inductees that there are plaques with you on them up in the Downing University Center. It's on the main floor above the information desk. So you not only have your own plaque to enjoy, but all those who walk the halls of DUC will also have a chance to revisit your many accomplishments and special honor.